All right, you either clicked on this video because you're a NESFAB subscriber and you guys just like watching what I do, or you're having the same issue that we've been dealing with for the last year and a half. So 2019 Jeep Grand Cherokee, it's the Altitude. It's got the 3.6 liter Pinstar all-time all-wheel drive. So this issue first started happening about a year ago. It was about last summer. The wife was driving it. She went through a drive-through. The car died on her. It kind of stumbled out and then died on her. Well, it started right back up. She was able to get home. It didn't do it. I don't think it did it all last summer. Summer rolls around again this year, and then it starts doing it again. And luckily it did it while I was driving the vehicle, so I was able to kind of fully see what was going on with it. Right away, with my mechanic background, my intentions were a fuel pump. The thing kind of like acted like it was running out of fuel, and then it would die. The thing that had me tripped up was how it started right back up. It like started right back up right away, and then it would drive normal. Some days it wouldn't even mess up. Sometimes it would go weeks. Sometimes we would start the vehicle up and then like within a minute it would die out, but it would fire right back up. So for fuel pump issues, it was like, it had me not thinking it was a fuel pump, it was a fuel pump, it was a fuel pump. Well, unfortunately, it finally just completely took a crap. I don't know 100% yet if it is the fuel pump, but the wife was driving home, it stalled out, didn't start up, had to grab the flatbed trailer, go pick her up. Luckily, she wasn't too far away from the house. But got it home, put the fuel pressure tester on it, showing 0 fuel pressure. So, you know, doing some reading, and the thing is with this issue is that there isn't really like a confirmed 100% fix for the problem. There's a lot of people that say they have the same issue, they've taken it to a mechanic, the mechanic has replaced all kinds of stuff, but they still have the issue. So what I got is I picked up a fuel pump, and I picked up the auxiliary fuel pump, which is not necessarily a fuel pump. It's technically a pickup tube for the other side of the fuel tank. For whatever reason, Dodge decided to build their tank to where it would go up and behind the drive shaft and the exhaust. So there's like a tank on this side, and then there's a tank on this side, and there's like a kind of a crossover. Well, the actual fuel pump sits on the driver's side. I think the auxiliary pump is on the passenger side, and I'm not sure exactly how they have it set up to where it pulls, it knows how to pull from there. I don't know what wizardry? I don't know what type of black magic they got going on, but I'll see once I get the fuel tank out. So we got the Jeep in the garage. This is the first time it's ever been in here because the race car is usually in here. Got up on jack stands. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop this fuel tank out and slap in some new parts. We picked up these parts from TRQ. They're pretty reputable. The parts themselves weren't too expensive. I think it was like 80 bucks for the fuel pump and 60 bucks for the auxiliary pump. So I just picked up both. So that way when it's out, I'm just gonna replace all the parts. We'll slap it up in there and hopefully it starts. So it's like, it won't start. It just cranks, no fuel pressure. So the issue is persistent, and whatever is wrong is still wrong. So if I put the fuel pump in there and the crossover and it fires up, well, we know that was the issue. If I switch those parts, it doesn't start up, well, I know we got another issue. So we're gonna get the tools out, get the creeper down, start yanking out this fuel pump. All right, let's get you guys a little update. We just got done getting the exhaust out. I'm not gonna do a full tutorial on how to remove everything into the fuel pumps because I think it is TRQ that has a really good video on YouTube, and I'll link it in the description down below to do like a full how to remove, get to the fuel pumps. So we're just kind of gonna do like hopefully this resolves our issue type of video, but I'll take you guys along for a little bit. So we got the exhaust out. I just got deuced with fuel down here as I was popping off the, shine some light on this situation. I was popping off the feeler neck, and there seems to be there must be a check valve in here because I was expecting the gas tank is full. So I was expecting it to come gushing out, but it didn't. So it was just whatever was left in this fuel hose, which is nice. So I won't be needing these. So I'm gonna catch some fuel and drain it, and so we'll get rid of those. But I'll take you guys underneath here. So we got the drive shaft out. So you gotta take the exhaust and the drive shaft out the way, which is terrible. And then it gets you exposed to the gas tank, which, like you can see, it goes up, has a little hump that goes up over the drive shaft and the exhaust. So I just got to finish disconnecting a couple of hoses that I believe I got the main harness connector. If you guys ever want to do a test on power and stuff, the main harness connector is on the back side of the rear subframe, like right between the subframe and the axle. So I got that disconnected. So yeah, I've got a couple more things to disconnect and I should be able to lower this tank and check out the fuel pump. Here it is, we got it out on the ground. So we're kind of at a standstill for tonight though, because I broke 2 of the little clips for these hoses. So I'm hoping that Jeep has those in stock. So I'll swing by them tomorrow. Plus this thing is full. I was thinking that maybe it was too low on fuel, so I pulled it to a gas station and I filled it up. Well, that wasn't the issue. So this thing, like, I think it holds 24 gallons, but it's like a couple 100 pounds full. So I'm gonna stop by Harbor Freight on the way home from work tomorrow, grab a little transfer pump so we can pump as much fuel as I can out of this, so that way when I go to install it, it's not a couple 100 pounds. I mean, right now I had to like drag it out from underneath the Jeep, and it was pretty heavy, so I just know that I'd be fighting the hell out of it trying to put it back in while it's full. So pick up a little cheap transfer pump from Harbor Freight. Hopefully Jeep has those clips, and then we'll get this thing back in the car tomorrow, and fingers crossed it fires up. All right, warping to day 2. We're back at it. We went and picked up a couple things. So we got the new clips and stuff that we need that we broke taking this thing out. Picked up some transfer pumps, a self-priming jiggler pump. So I'm going to get those, the top of these, the fuel tank blown off with air, so that way when I open these up, shit doesn't fall into there, stuff doesn't fall into there. And then we're gonna start getting this tank sucked out into these totes as much as possible, so that way when I go to put it back in, I don't hurt my old self. So that's currently where we're at right now. So let's get these things cleaned off and start sucking fuel. Okay, this is the mess we got going on right now. This little, I think this thing was like 17 bucks from Harbor Freight. It's a little drill operated pump that works pretty damn good for pumping the fuel out pretty quick. I had some old hoses that I hooked up to it. These are just 3/4 inch threads. So that pumps all the fuel out that we have in 2 17-gallon totes. Maybe we can pump back in. So we got the old fuel pump. This is the main fuel pump. You can see the actual pump itself is right down here. And this is that auxiliary system. So this thing goes inside the tank and connects to the pump there. So it's from like one side to the other. So that came out a lot easier than I thought it was going to. So we got the new parts sitting in the boxes. We'll pop them out, compare them, hopefully they're the same, and then we'll switch it back in. All right, success. We got this is the auxiliary pump. We got that line routed up through here, plugged into the main pump. So everything's hooked back in. Got the harness plugged back in, security clips. We got this just like an evac canister vent line or something. So everything is plugged back in, return line hooked up. That new clip is in for that. That new clip is in for this. So we're ready to slide underneath there and get this shoved back in the hole. Okay, well, we're pre-matured, turned the engine on, and it fired up. So right now we got 32 PSI, which before when we were testing this, we had 0. So I'll hop in and crank it over one time. So let's go fire up. Make sure everything sounds good. Sounds good. So I gotta get the fuel pressure tester off of it, finish putting the fuel back in that we drained out, and then we'll go test drive it. So this is like a confusing thing because a lot of people have a lot of issues, and I don't know, some people say that they've had the fuel pump replaced. Maybe the mechanics were lying to them. Maybe they didn't have the fuel pumps replaced, but the fuel pump, sorry, not the fuel pumps. Well, that could be a thing too. Maybe the mechanics just replaced the fuel pump and they didn't replace the auxiliary pump, and for some reason it was sucking air. Who knows? But I replaced both. It seemed to fix our issue, so we'll go drive it around and hopefully we'll continue to drive it without any issues. So that's fixing a stumble start on a 2019 Jeep Grand Cherokee. This one's got the 3.6 liter Pinstar. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next adventure. Get out there and GSD.